It's the Orioles on Bassin on a bright sunny day in Arlington, Texas. It's the Orioles and Texas Rangers today, the finale of this three-game weekend series. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hunter. Contending for a postseason berth is a fine line in Major League Baseball. Wins are at a premium, and games in April are just as important as they are in August and September. And along the way, winning the close games is key if you're going to find yourself in the dance in October. And that's an area the Orioles have struggled all year. In games decided by one run this year, the Birds have gone 17-24. That is 27th in Major League Baseball. Since August 20th, the Orioles have lost 9 of 10, and 5 of those 9 losses have been by a run. Remember back in 2013, after the playoff year of 2012, the Orioles went 20-31 in games decided by a run, and they are struggling again this year. Jim Palmer, when you look at the games in particular on this road trip, pretty frustrating for the team because one big base hit here or there, and this could be a much different trip.
Yeah, I mean, if you look over the last 10 games, you sweep Oakland. You really play well. You score 18 runs, and then all of a sudden Minnesota comes in. Not a very good road team. Come to Baltimore. They win 4 in a row. Now you start to play the good teams. Texas is playing well. Kansas City, we know how good they are, all the way to the World Series. So, again, it's not that they're playing that poorly. They're just playing, if you want to term it that way, poorly enough. And a lot of times it can be one hit or it can be one pitch. Or last night, even Manny Machado, who's one of the best defenders in baseball, not getting the ball out of his glove. Beltry ends up hitting a 2-run home run instead of a solo. You lose by 1 run. You bring a rookie out of the bullpen, Givens. All he has to do is get Wilson out, who's kind of matched up with him. Doesn't make a good pitch. Wilson now 5 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and you lose another game by 1 run. So, while Jim, it just kind of gathers on you, and I think that's where the Orioles are with only the one win in the last 10 ball games.
And if you were to ask Buck Showalter, are the hitters pressing at the plate, he would say, I hope so, because I know they care, and they want to get it done as much as anyone. So today here, the O's are looking for a win as they try to avoid being swept by the Rangers. It is a warm but great day for baseball. Lineups and first pitch are coming up. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Royal Farms. Royal Farms ATMs are surcharge free. Get your cash for nothing. Bank or credit card fees may still apply. Well, it's partly cloudy here in Arlington, Texas. There's Miguel Gonzalez, who will make the start. He's looking to be the stopper for the O's today as they try to get one game in this series. And Miguel, after a real good start, has struggled over his last 6 starts. Today making his 7th attempt at his 10th win of the year. You've seen his first 18 games, real good ERA, but in his last 6 it has been a struggle. 0-4 with a 7.89 ERA. And prior to today's game, Buck Showalter commented on Miguel and his recent struggles.
I think Miguel looks at it as an opportunity to contribute and right his ship, so to speak, because he's been such a solid, consistent contributor for us over the last 2 or 3 years that it's there. It's just a little, what's the word, latent right now. But it, he understands how important all games are that he pitches in. The games in April, some of the things real well he's done this year are the reason why we're still engaged in this. So I try to keep that in mind. But I try to keep a long memory, but you can't just keep waiting on things because they've happened before. As a player, you've got to make them happen now.
And that's what they hope he'll be able to do. And you go back and you can pretty much trace the inability to get hitters out at the normal rate he's able to, because he can pitch. He's got 4 pitches that goes with that groin. Had to go on the disabled list, a little bit of a groin pull, whatever you want to call it. Missed 2 weeks, and since he's come back, and he's one of those guys, Jim, where he really loads on his back leg. I mean, all pitchers use that. If you're right-handed, the right leg, left-handed, left leg to push off, and I think he hadn't been wild, but I think he's been wild in the strike zone, and that's really hurt him.
Kind of amazing because of how consistent he has been. He has not won a game since July 25th. At Tampa Bay. Our BGE home game time temperature is 94 degrees. BGE Home is Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? It's the southwest breeze, about 9 miles an hour. And here's the Orioles starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Well, for the O's, Machado, Pearson, Jones with Chris Davis in that cleanup spot. Chris has fared very well against left-handed pitching on the year. 9 home runs for Chris of his 35 have come off left-handers. Wieters will catch, then Caleb Joseph DHing, Scope, Alvarez, and Giannis for the O's.
And they'll face Derek Holland, one of these guys that's a great story in a sense, because he's in the postseason 3-0, won 16 games for him, 10-12, microfracture surgery. And then had a very good spring. As you look at he's got fastball, he can get into the mid-90s, big curveball, slider, and then a nice changeup. But again, hadn't pitched that much because this year, instead of the knee problem, got all the way through spring, and then in his first start, instead of throwing 95, is throwing 84, and since then on the disabled list. So the numbers, not numbers that really indicate his capabilities, coming off a no decision against the Blue Jays. Rangers winning 1 of the 3 games earlier in the week, and Holland threw 3 home runs in that game, when he is usually Derek Holland, doesn't throw too many home runs.
So he will go to work on Manny Machado, and as Manny steps in, a bit of a different look for the O's today. They are wearing their Saturday alternate orange jerseys on a Sunday on the road. Usually they wear these jerseys at home, and there's a strike. Manny is 5 for 25 on the road trip with a home run and 4 RBIs. Derek Holland, now 28 years old. He's out of Newark, Ohio, and has been a lifelong Ranger. And as Manny will take a strike at the knees in a 22.
Yeah, very much like Cole Hamels in the sense that he'll throw that changeup. You just saw it, any count. And then again, the big breaking ball that he throws at your back leg.
And a strike 3 call. And Manny, in disagreement, says something to Jim Reynolds as he backs away. So a 4-pitch strikeout and 1 away.
Well, either that or he's saying, boy, you got me for last night, because maybe they didn't like the way he acted out. The ball could have been off the plate. And maybe Manny just saying, okay, that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be a big strike zone. It will not make the Orioles happy. Umpires are supposed to have short memories and not hold grudges.
Well, Steve Pearce will bat 1 out and nobody on. And he'll take ball 1 down and away.
Of course, that would be in a perfect world. Fortunately, things don't really always turn out the way you want them to turn out.
And a swing and a miss. Well, Steve Pearce, since coming back off the disabled list, he has hit the ball very well. .278 batting average, a couple of home runs and 2 RBIs. And his home run last night got the Orioles back in it. It was their first run of the game after falling behind 3-0. And a good take there.
Well, what he's able to do, if you make a mistake in the middle of the plate, he can pull the ball with the best of them. I mean, that's one reason why the average is where it is at 232, but a powerful guy. And again, the ability to hit it out of the ballpark.
There's a strike on the corner, fooled by the pitch. Except possibly that he didn't swing at that changeup that was right there. And it looked like it was up in the zone, but it did hit the corner.
Yeah, that's the pitches. And there was a home run, a changeup, and a curveball hit by Toronto. Of course, they've scored 102 runs more than anybody else. So if you make a mistake for the Blue Jays, but again, I think it could be said to a number of the Oriole hitters that the same thing could be applicable. You make a mistake. This is the kind of park where it looks big until you get out on the mound. And if the ball gets in the air, good chance of carrying.
Pierce works the count full. And a swing and a miss at a changeup. Wow, what a pitch. Back-to-back Ks and 2 men down.
Yeah, again, they're selling the arm action. And, you can see the target down and in. It's kind of in the middle of the plate, but we saw with Cole Hamels on Friday. He had a plus changeup. And again, Derek Holland, when he's healthy, he's a guy that they are really looking forward to help them down the stretch. Again, his ability, as we mentioned, to go back to when they were in the playoffs in the World Series, he went 3-0, winning championship series, division series, in the World Series.
Swing and a miss for Adam. Here's our Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers. Best batting averages on Sundays. And Adam is second best at 453, trailing only Miguel Cabrera. Adam also loves hitting in day games as well, so they go hand in hand. Most Sundays are day games, unless you happen to be the Sunday night game, which the Orioles will be in a couple of weeks at home against Kansas City. Adam on the trip, he's hit his last 2 games, but it's just 4 for 21 on the trip. Hard hit ball, and that is a fair ball down the line, and it ricochets off the facade. Adam is thinking to, as Will Venable runs it down, and he slides in with a 2-out double.
Yeah, the ball girl down the line, and she had to get out of the way, and then the ball carrying back. This is what they were able to do against Martin Perez last night, but it took a while. And when you try to go in and you don't quite get it in and you have a quick bat, Adam Jones certainly in that category. That's what happens. Ground balls are hit over the bag, and then Venable will make it close. So again, this is very much like Dario Alvarez's first major league hit last night, a double.
So Adam gets in the scoring position with 2 down, so he's got a 3-game hitting streak going. As the Orioles look to break out of this collective slump, here is Chris Davis with a chance for a first-inning RBI. And he'll take inside 1-0. Chris is the only left-handed batter in the lineup today. Wieters on deck will bat right-handed as a switch hitter. Buck Showalter gave Gerardo Parra another day off, preferring to keep Steve Pearson there against the lefty. And that's low again, so good eye by Chris. 2-0. Chris on the road trip, 3 for 21. And that's one of the reasons why it has been such a struggle for the Orioles to score runs. Machado's now 5 for 26. Jones is 5 for 22. Davis is 3 for 21, and Wieters is 3 for 17. So your key run producers are all slumping at the same time.
Yeah, and then you're getting good pitching. Go to Kansas City, it's a friend of mine, Amy Elias, used to say, there, Jim, there are no such things as free lunches. There are no free lunches in Kansas City with that staff. You gotta earn it.
What if I was to buy you lunch?
Well, there'd probably be a reason.
There's a ball hit towards the middle, softly hit. Andrews will play it and get it to first in time. So Davis is out, and the Orioles strand Jones at second base. We'll head to the bottom of the second, or bottom of the first. Miguel going to work. today. Let's get a look at the Rangers lineup today against Miguel Gonzalez. DeShields, Chu, and Fielder with Beltre batting cleanup. Mitch Moreland, he has been a thorn to the O's on the year, including 4 home runs and 7 RBIs. Andrews, Venable, Jimenez, and Hanser Alberto batting ninth.
And Miguel Gonzalez, as you mentioned, Jim, in the opening, trying to get to 10 and 10, 9 and 10. So fastballs around 90 to 92 miles per hour. Velocity hasn't been the problem. Location has. Curveball, slider, and then the changeup. That's the splitter. So again, the ERA, has really gone up dramatically ever since he had the right groin problem, which put him on the DL.
And he gets ahead of DeShields. Delino has been a hot hitter. 265, the rookie. Rule 5 pick from the Astros. And that one misses inside at 72 miles an hour. Buck Showalter before the game was asked about DeShields and what he thinks of his presence on this team, and he said, well, there are no secrets in the Rule 5 draft. Once teams get their 40-man roster sized up and there's a blue pit to right, so speed is on as DeShields stays hot. Buck says there's really about maybe 15 players that are left off rosters that you consider, and out of that group, maybe 5 will make it through the entire season, and DeShields is certainly one of those. He's playing in his 94th game.
Not only is he doing that, when they came to Baltimore at the end of June, I guess, or the end of May, he had the hamstring problem, so he was on the DL. But he's an impact player. And if you go look at, if you're looking at players you want to get, can he steal bases? Yeah, he stole as many as 83, 50 plus in the minors. Does he get on base? Does he know the strike zone? And the answer is yes. Now, he doesn't hit a lot of home runs. Pretty good defender. Doesn't have a good arm. As we mentioned last night, he was not one of Jeff Lunau's guys. He was a year before Jeff took over as vice president or whatever his title is, general manager of the Astros. So he was maybe expendable for those reasons. But he certainly made an impact here.
This ball's hit to right field, and that's in for a base hit. Alvarez plays it on a hop, fires to second, and nearly got DeShields, who held up to make sure that ball would fall in.
Now you go halfway, and again, Mario Alvarez is one of these guys when, just check this out right here, and DeShields, he doesn't know if the ball's going to drop, so that's why it's close, but with his speed, able to get in there. Beating Goldberg, the second base umpire.
On the fly.
Yeah, just a snap throw. And
so 2 on and none down. Here's Prince Fielder. Neither ball hit hard, but they both fell in.
Well, that one was hit a little bit harder than the first one. First one's a flare, and that was, even if I was pitching, I had to categorize it as a line drive I just threw. And then you get their best hitter with runners in scoring position, Fielder at 345. You need to make a pitch.
Let's get a look at our American standards. Who's hot and who's not. Well, Caleb Joseph against Texas. He's hot, 357. Prince Fielder, last 8 games, not so much. 188 with a couple of strikeouts. Celebrate the season with the American Standard All-Star event. Visit MidAtlanticComfort.com for amazing rebate and financing opportunities. And there's a line drive to center field. That's a base hit. DeShields will be held as Jones got to it quickly, and the throw comes all the way into the plate. So 3 consecutive singles off Miguel Gonzalez to begin this game in the bottom of the first for the Rangers.
Yeah, you get unlucky with DeShields, and then ball up to Chu. This is a hang-in, maybe a splitter. You're trying to get a double play ball. If it's down, maybe you'll get it. But it's up. Fielder does what he's doing. Now he has a 5-game hit streak. These guys are on fire. They've won, 15 out of their last 19 at home. Even though they're now, 31 and 32 at home. So they went through earlier in the year a 1-12 stretch at home. But this is a totally different ball club.
Adrian Beltre now. And he will take a strike. So Miguel early on here already in minimize the damage mode with the bases loaded and nobody out.
And you'd like to think, and of course, numbers don't always tell you the whole story. Beltre's only 1 for 11. So you think, wow, I have the pretty good numbers, but I'm not sure we're seeing the real Miguel Gonzalez.
High fly ball to right. Alvarez circling back on it. And he's got it. The throw will come into second base to keep the double play in order. Oh, all the way through to third. And scoring from third is the line on the Shields.
Well, that works as long as the guy on first, the fielder with no speed, doesn't tag up. He didn't hit the cutoff man. I think Adam Jones probably saying something to him, but he's got it. And they get their first run. Beltre now still for 1 for 11, but all he did was what he wanted to do. He couldn't do more and get the run in.
And Kirby, the outfield coach, looking on. Alvarez picked up an assist, gunning down a runner at the plate the first time he touched the ball in the big leagues. And last night had his first 2 hits.
Can you imagine how fast the game is going, though? Come out of Double-A, come to the big leagues for your first weekend. You know, the throw on Friday, the 2 hits last night.
It's Moreland. And that one gets away from Wieters. He doesn't know where it is. And here's Chu scoring. That fielder goes to second base. Outstanding base running by Chu. He did not hesitate. As soon as that ball bounced and went up in the air behind Wieters, he took off.
Well, I thought the comments that Buck Showalter, basically, you know, it's great to have a track record. And I think Miguel knows, and maybe this is why he's probably trying to pitch when maybe he's not 100%. I would not imagine he'll have a very long leash. And that's a ball. You know, you try to backhand it. It really looks bad when you don't block it. I know my former catcher, Rick Dempsey, is saying, boy, you just can't let that ball go by you. It's not an easy play. It's not only the second run, it's the fielder who is in double play position now is in scoring position.
And the 1-0 to Moreland, swung on and missed. Good changeup. Moreland has had a lot of success against Miguel. He is 4 for 10 with a home run. The 3 consecutive singles set this inning up, and the Rangers grab an early 2-0 lead. Orioles have the shift on against Moreland. And Miguel will miss inside.
You're already trying to make perfect pitches here in the first. Yeah, you go back to that game that Miguel pitched against the Rangers. The Orioles would lose 8-6, and he would throw 3 home runs. Chu hit one. Chirinos, who's on the DL, hit one. And then Moreland.
And Moreland's was a 2-run shot. And he's up with a man on here in the first. There's a bouncer played by Scope. Took a funny hop, but Jonathan played it cleanly. Gets Moreland 2 men down. Fielder ends up at third.
Well, you talked about how fast this infield is. I mean, there are no routine hops. You know, a lot of times you can kind of slow the ball down because the infield does it for you. Obviously, I would imagine it's a law of physics that a ball hit, even on turf, is not going to get any faster. But if it has top spin, which that's one, it's not going to slow down a whole lot.
Elvis Andrus, the 6th batter to come up here in the first. So the Orioles got a runner to second with 2 down, couldn't get him in. And Texas now responds by putting 2 on the board against Miguel. Gonzalez will stay from the stretch. Swing and a miss at an off-speed pitch. Miguel has allowed home runs in his last 4 starts. He has pitched a bit better on the road than he has at Camden Yards on the year. 6 of his 9 wins are on the road.
Yeah, he's one of the few Orioles that has pitched well on the road. I mean, Chen pitches well everywhere. They just don't score a lot of runs for him. Osmond has pitched well pretty much everywhere, but they don't score a lot of runs for him. But to have a 4.44 ERA, even though you're 6-6, is high for Miguel.
And he misses outside, so 2-1 on Andrus.
Yeah, the amazing thing about Elvis Andrus and this team collectively, a pretty good offensive club, but only hitting .246 with runners in scoring position as a club. He's been up 112 times with runners in scoring position and hitting .232. Just think if they got more clutch hits.
Don't chase the splitter, so 3-1.
And then you look on deck when you've already given up 2 runs and you're saying, okay, I cannot give in to Elvis Andrus. And you got Will Venable. And if you paid attention last night, he is swinging the bat pretty well. He was acquired from the Padres.
And there's ball 4. He missed down and in. The inning continues. First goes Andrews.
I'll take a look at the defense. Pierce Jones and Alvarez. That's your outfield. Machado, Giannis, Scope, and Davis. And then Matt Wieters doing the catching. Hey, Ball's going to come out and have a... I think the first thing he said, "Are you all right?" I mean, this is so unlike it. Not taking one iota away from the Rangers, who have been scoring over 5 runs a game at home. And, you know, they're a very hot ball club, but just not used to seeing this over a sustained period of... We're talking, he got hurt on one on the DL about the 10th or 11th of June. And all the way since really 25th of June, he has not been the pitcher we're used to seeing.
Yeah, this is his 7th attempt to win his 10th game. He won his 9th on July 25th. So here is Venable, and he fouls it off his foot or leg. Wailing away at the first pitch. Venable has seen Miguel in the interleague against San Diego. He was 1 for 3. Well, I'm sure the confidence is wavering for Miguel.
Yeah, and that's human nature.
Right.
You know, I was talking to... You talk to any player. I mean, Jason Garcia, who was Rule 5 pitcher.
And a bloop foul, so he gets ahead 0-2 on Will Venable.
You know, Ryan Flaherty, as you mentioned last night, when he came in the game, he had gone 0 for 34. And I said, what would that feel like? He'd go, I said, were you nervous? He said, yeah. I said, were you apprehensive? Yeah. Were you totally stressed out? He goes, yeah. I mean, you know, you can just go down the list. That's what happens when you struggle.
And a weak roller towards first, but it bounces foul.
And, you know, Miguel has gone through so many things to get to this point in his career. I mean, you know, he had the Tommy John surgery, he had to have knee surgery, he was a Rule 5 guy, pitched in the Mexico League. And I imagine, even if he's not 100%, he's going to go out there. I'd like to think. I don't see any reason why, when he's healthy, he can't get people out, because he can pitch.
And he misses down and away, 1-2 on Venable.
And one of the problems when he does get ahead, he hasn't been able to throw that strike 3 or whiff pitch or ground ball at somebody. And you know, it used to be the splitter. You know, he used to be able to run the ball up and in when he gets to 0-2, 1-2, these counts. It's been a little bit of a problem.
Runner from first, Andrews goes, and no throw from Wieters, so there's a stolen base. Now 2 in scoring position with 2 down. As Miguel misses down and away. So 2-2 on Venables. Gonzalez tries to get out of it, about to throw his 24th pitch in this first inning. And he got him. Foul tip held by Wieters, and the inning finally ends. So 7 men come to the plate. Texas scores 2 and strands 2. We'll head to the second. 2-0 Rangers. Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Now, how does that work? Rose fan, Rangers fan? So, somebody goes home happy.
Love will heal many, many wounds.
Derek Holland faced 4 batters in the first, 2 out double to Jones, but he was stranded.
Kind of likes this. Get in a little bit of trouble, get out of it. And his team gets him a couple of runs.
Matt Wieters will lead off. Joseph and Scope will follow. And there's strike 1. Wieters 3 for 17 on the trip, and he's gone 43 at bats without an RBI. His last RBI was on August 9th.
Well, I don't care who you are, when you miss pretty much the whole year. Saw it with Victor Martinez when he had the knee problem. Of course, Matt Wieters with the Tommy John surgery. It looked like, I mean, he came back really hitting well. And then again, then you got to start catching, and it's just tough to be exactly where you want to be.
Huge foul the other way. Count evens 2-2.
Yeah, I always thought Derek Holland, he has very good stuff. When he first came up, he was one of these guys that he struggled because he got rushed to the big leagues. But he could always be effectively wild because he's never afraid to use his whole pitching arsenal in any count. Doesn't mean it always maybe was the best thing for him.
And he gets Wieters.
But see, again, I mean, right there, he can go up the ladder. He can go 93 to 95. He's got a good changeup. We saw that in the first. He's got a nice little breaking ball. Also has one of those deceptive, because it's very much like Cole Hamels, who the Orioles saw on Friday night, where he struck out 10, where he turns his back on you. Deception, the inability to pick the ball up.
25th round draft pick in 2006 out of Wallace State Community College in Huntsville, Alabama. Now that's scouting. Here's Joseph going the opposite way, back on it is Chu. And then he puts it away on the warning track for the second out in the second. The Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, Tony Bailey of Windsor Mill, has won $500 for being selected and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit today. Play Baseball Bucks scratch-offs and win up to $50,000, or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Visit mdlottery.com/baseball. Here's Jonathan Scope. Jonathan is 6 for 23 on the road trip.
Yeah, he came onto the road trip against Minnesota. He was smoking balls between first and second, hit the long home run off of Ventura. He went 485 feet, kept it fair down the left field line in Kansas City. And then you get pitched to. Good fastball hitter. They're trying to get in on his fist.
Popped up wide of first. Moreland over. He has a play, and he's got it. And the Orioles go very quickly and very quietly. 3 down, 3 up, and 3 down. Mid-second, 2-0 Rangers. Blue Jays 700 runs scored, 102 more than any other MLB team. And the Blue Jays have a 9-2 lead on the Tigers as they head to the ninth inning at Rogers Center. Nathan Eovaldi owns the longest winning streak in the American League, 8-0, 2.93 in his last 12 starts. He is still in the game, and the Yankees have an 8-2 lead in the sixth at Atlanta. And the Rays have dropped the first 2 games to Kansas City, 5th loss in 6 games. Their manager Kevin Cash said they look like a playoff team, and I think our guys know that. Certainly the Orioles know that after being handled in Kansas City.
Well, they're a good club. Scored about 150 more runs than they've given up. Talking about Kansas City. Only one team in baseball, and that's the Cardinals have won more games, 83 to the Royals 80. And it's almost like they haven't missed Alex Gordon.
Right, and he's in rehabbing in the minor leagues now.
Yeah, I had read where he's played like 6, maybe now 7 games, so I would imagine Royals may see him when the Royals come weekend after next to Baltimore.
A lot of times at this time of year, what teams will do is if they have a player coming back off the DL, they'll just wait until Tuesday when the rosters expand. That saves them another move.
So Jimenez, a very good fastball hitter. He torched one the other night for Kevin Gausman.
Towards the middle, Scope is there. That ball nearly hit the bag. And Jonathan the first. Nice job by Davis as he keeps his foot on the base. And one away here in the Texas second. Birds are back home tomorrow. Tampa Bay's in town, an AL East Division showdown. And don't forget on Tuesday, it's Ollie's Bargain Night presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet. All the upper reserve seats are just $10. Get your tickets now at Orioles.com or call 888-848-BIRD. Tomorrow night, the return home and outstanding pitching matchup, Wei-Yin Chen against Chris Archer.
Yeah, Archer, I believe, is leading the American League in strikeouts. Gifted young pitchers the Rays have.
Hanser Alberto.
Yeah, maybe this will be an inning where Miguel, now that he got the leadoff hitter, can get the number 9 hitter. Have an easy inning, get some kind of routine back. And the only thing I see, and I was watching his, well, I've watched most of the games he's pitched, and I just look at where the ball ends up. And he's a guy that should pitch up in the zone when he gets ahead, not pitch up in the zone all the time. And if you see, let's just, if you're sitting at home, count how many balls there are actually, especially fastballs, that are down around the knees. You just don't see any money, and I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe that has something to do again with your push-off leg, and that's where he hurt the groin.
So head 1 and 2, and a bouncer foul.
Yeah, the splitter, and again, if you can't push off, you can't finish your pitches, you don't have that little extra. And again, if your stuff, not the total stuff, because again, he's got 4 pretty good pitchers when he's healthy. They're pretty good, but none of them is, other than maybe the splitter, is a plus pitch.
There's a bouncer to third, short hop there by Machado, and 2 down here in the second inning. Well, it's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Just use the hashtag #OsCouchCam, and you just might see yourself in the upcoming broadcast, all brought to you by T-Mobile. Those fans in the house here, Arlington, Texas.
Yeah, about 93 degrees, so this will test your conditioning.
Why did you look at me when you said that?
No.
And here's the Shields, and there's a ground ball towards short. Giannis plays the hop, and there's a nice bounce back inning for Miguel Gonzalez. 3 up, 3 down on 3 ground ball outs. We'll head to the third. Birds come to bat, now by 2. big night for him, Jim, as he picked up his first big league hit.
Again, and he got the Orioles started. Then he came back with 3 runs in the 5th inning after Perez kind of cruising along. Would end up tying the game, but eventually lose it, and then he would add another single. So we've seen a couple of hits. We've seen the arm on not only on occasion on Friday, but early today. And then again, he'll get to face a tough lefty that you don't normally see in Double-A or even Triple-A. Somebody that can throw in the mid-90s and good changeup, curveball, any count.
Well, Buck Showalter was saying that the at-bat that impressed him the most last night, even after he got his 2 hits, was his last at-bat where he drew a walk. In his first game on Friday night, you would expect he was a tad anxious. So 1-1 the count on Dariel. Let's see if the O's can back up Miguel here after that 3-up, 3-down inning.
Yeah, so there's the hook, and now he can pretty much do with the command it appears he has anything he wants to do. Yeah, I think really for the Orioles, of course, the bullpen is much improved here because of acquisitions and trades, but they've let Derek Holland throw 93, 94 pitches. No hot day, pitch count of 29. That could come into play.
Strike 3 called. He looks over a fastball.
So there's the young minor leaguer, the big league guy that's coming back from injuries, and he gets pitched to. Inside corner. Jimenez just freezing it there for home plate umpire Jim Reynolds.
That is strikeout number 4 for Derek Holland. As Alvarez goes down, and here's Paul Janisch for his first at bat. Getting another start here. 3 consecutive lefties. The Orioles will see another lefty on Tuesday. Drew Smiley will go for Tampa Bay, so it'll be 4 lefty starters out of 5 games against the O's.
And in between, Chris Archer. Well, Ventura on Thursday, Orioles losing in Kansas City, was what? He was touching 99, 100.
Yep.
Pretty much the entire game, 87-mile-per-hour breaking ball. A couple of hits through 6 innings with 11 strikeouts. So there is the repertoire against right-handers, so you can see very comfortable throwing any of his pitches. And the other thing is you got to rate those pitches. If you throw 93 to 95, you can pitch in and out. That fastball is a plus pitch, breaking ball, and changeup, borderline plus pitches. That's another one. A little breaking ball took something off. So you establish fastball, get the bat sped up, and then breaking ball, the secondary pitches. It's like a curveball that ends up on the inside corner.
It's already 5 Ks now through 2 2/3 for Holland.
I think it's a haircut myself.
You like his haircut?
Well, no, it's obviously working. A little zigzag pattern. You can barely see the back. There it is.
How about that?
Trying to visualize you with that kind of hair.
Manny pops it up. Andrews calls off Beltre. And Beltre simulating he was going to catch the ball. And the Orioles go 3-up, 3-down for a second consecutive inning. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by your local Mercedes dealership. Concourse here at Globe Life Park. Big ballpark, as they tend to build everything big in Texas. And another mixed family. Texas fans and Orioles fans, but everybody's getting along. Mix up your allegiances there. And there's Chu fouling it off, 0-1. Chu single contributing to the 2-run rally in the first.
And he's now reached base 34 straight games. Big home run on Friday night against the Orioles.
And a strike on the inside corner, so 0-2 on Sin-Shu Chu. Chu is now 4 for 9 against Miguel.
Yeah, when you're struggling, again, he gets ahead. Where do we go? What do we want to do? Get a little more feel in the third inning than you do early.
Nicole has some carry, Adam back on it. And he has it for the out. 5 in a row retired by Miguel, and one away here in the Texas third inning.
Yeah, when you give up 2 early runs and you're a competitor and you battle like Miguel Gonzalez, he knows exactly what he has to do. He just has to, really try to go to the A game. Not that you didn't try to do that early, and then hope that maybe Derek Holland will have a bad inning. That's what Perez did last night. The Orioles got back. 3-run inning against Ubaldo Jimenez, and the Orioles came back and tied it.
Fielder fouls it off. Prince had the third of the 3 consecutive singles to begin the first inning. He is 4th in the league in batting, and he is 4th in base hits.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering when you look, you talked about the fact that he hadn't been real hot, even though he has a 5-game hitting streak. Because when you're hitting 345 with runners in scoring position, and I think at one point he was 7 for 33. Just imagine how high he was before he had that mini slump. I'm just kind of wondering, coming off neck surgery, it's a long season.
Yes.
But you would like to think he'd be even more healthier next year. Because last year his season cut short, premature, by the cervical operation he had to have.
Yeah, he went on the DL May 23rd, then had the surgery and didn't come back. He appeared in only 42 games last year for the Rangers. And he fights it off to stay alive.
Well, he's kind of to me, he's kind of an intriguing hitter because high on base percentage, 378. That's up there. He's walked 43 times. He does not strike out for a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. 60 strikeouts. But he's a contact guy with power.
Left field towards the corner. Pierce is over. And he's got it in foul territory for the out.
Yeah, is there any place that Steve Pierce can't play? He just kind of glides over to make the play.
Well, 2 men down. Adrian Beltre coming up. He's going to look at our Jeep inside the numbers.
Well, there it is. Check this out. And again, we talked about the fact they've won 15 of their last 19 games at home. Beltre, who had the thumb injury early on, he's been a big part of it. A lot of glowing numbers. Again, you were talking about 4 Gold Gloves at third base, so he helps you win in a lot of ways. Veteran player.
He is within a couple of seasons of maybe chasing 3,000 hits as well.
Yeah, a lot of home runs, 8 of them, because he hit one last night.
He has 2,720 base hits. So 280 away.
And in this generation, he's certainly, when I mean this generation, he's certainly one of the better third basemen. He can hit for power. He's lately been hitting for average, can drive in runs.
Now 36 years old and still holding his own out there defensively.
And that's a great thing about baseball. I played with Brooks, so I know how Brooks was good. Manny Machado says he idolized Beltre because he was the generation ahead of
Pryor.
Yeah, of Manny. And they always try to say, okay, who was better, Beltre or Manny, or is Manny better than Brooks? Or that's the great thing about this game.
And a soft single.
Well, how about when he goes back down on that one knee? It's when you know he's really hitting well. And we have seen that over the last 5-6 years. And it's a curveball. It's not a bad pitch. I mean, it stays up a little bit. And boy, down on one knee. Big swing. But again, look what he's looking at. What do you try to hit? You try to hit the back of the ball. And that was a perfect example of him able to do that. Again, it wasn't one of those low and away curveballs. It was hittable, and he didn't miss it.
So that'll get Mitch Moreland up for his second at bat. 2-out single by Beltre.
Good breaking ball there. And again, you talked about Moreland in the game that Miguel started. He hit a home. Well, there were 3 home runs off Miguel, but Moreland hit one off Chaz Rowe. So 4 home runs in that 8-6 win in Baltimore. One of the 3 victories in the 4-game series.
Moreland grounded out to Scope his first at bat. And there's a base hit through the shift. Alvarez over to cut it off. He'll fire back in. So back-to-back singles after 2 men down for Texas here in the 3rd inning. Well, don't miss a special evening at Oriole Park coming up on Tuesday. The O's will celebrate the 20th anniversary of Cal Ripken's historic 21-31 game as baseball's Iron Man will throw out the ceremonial first pitch before the game at 7:05. Now, good seats still remain at Orioles.com, but they are going quickly. Plus, if you visit Orioles.com/2131 now, you can bid on the official Orioles Maryland license plates that are numbered 2130 and 2131. All the proceeds will benefit the Orioles Charitable Foundation.
So this is how you put the pitch count up on the board, by getting the 2-out base hit. And then you get Moreland to the plate, who came in 4 for 10. And now you're one base hit away from adding another run. So depending on what kind of hit it is.
Andrews drew a walk and then stole a base his first at bat or plate appearance. Well, 1-1 the count.
It's amazing you had a critical account when you had to get Venable out in the 1st inning, and here we are in the 3rd, second time. Real important outs for Miguel Gonzalez to keep this game in hand. You can live with 2-0. The way haven't scored more than 3 runs in the last 9 games.
And the 9 losses.
Yeah, the 9 losses, other than the 5 home runs in Kansas City in the 1 game.
Yeah, they scored the 8 runs in that game, all on the home runs.
But the good hitting teams don't give away at bats. And when you're pitching against the good hitting teams, you know that. Can't ever relax.
All 3s he misses low. I've been very impressed in this series with the patience of Elvis Andrus at the plate.
Well, he's been on a hot streak. Hitting well over 300 the last 42 games now. I mean, the way he can play shortstop, you're going to put him in the lineup.
Big pitch coming here for Miguel on 3-1. And towards the right side, Scope gets to it and throws, and safe is the call. Andrus beats it out and Beltre scores. What an effort by Scope as he was shading up the middle. And Andrus hits it against the shift for an RBI base hit.
Yeah, you're up the middle and he hits it off the end of the bat, so there's a lot of spin. I mean, Jonathan Scope did everything you can to try to throw him out. Had to go a long way. Had to watch him. He's not going to catch it cleanly, but he knocks it down, and the boy with no hesitation. But again, the ball hit to the right side, but somebody with speed, and you can see the foot definitely beats him. With the speed, the right-handed hitter coming out of the box, a much better chance of beating it out. And that's exactly what happens.
So all this after 2 outs and nobody on, 3 straight singles gets a run in. And it's 3-0 Texas. Here's Venable. Jason Garcia up for a second time. Miguel is already at 55 pitches as he works here in the third. Popped up. Who's it going to be? Manny gets there. Yes, he does. Calls off Miguel, and he has it for the out. And the inning is over. But the Rangers had a run on 3 hits in strand 2. We'll head to the fourth. It is 3-0 Texas. Place in the NL East. They acquired reliever Addison Reed from Arizona. Pirates have won 7 of 8 and 14 of 17, and they are an MLB best 29 and 15 in those critical one-run games. And the Dodgers became the first team in Major League Baseball to surpass 3 million in attendance this year. It is the 19th time in the past 20 seasons the Dodgers have drawn more than 3 million.
Yeah, how about Vin Scully coming back? I think what, for 67th year, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's
announced that he will be back in 2016.
Steve Pearce will lead off. Orioles have some work to do, and he is fooled by that pitch and swings through it 0-1.
And how about the Pirates? They start slow, and then they see the finish line. As Clint Hurdle and his whole staff and players done a great job with 79 wins already. That's the 3rd best record in the major leagues.
And they're a second-place team. Bounce to short. Nice charity hop for Andrews. Pierce is retired. And one away in the Orioles' fourth. On Friday, September 11th, the Royals will be at Oriole Park. It begins a 3-game ALCS rematch. Now, on that night, September 11th, first 25,000 fans, 15 and over, will receive an Orioles hooded sweatshirt. So don't miss this warm addition to your Birdland wardrobe. Tickets are going fast, so get online, Orioles.com, or call 888-848-BIRD. So beginning to get the winter attire. Adam Jones now. He has the only hit. He's the only Oriole to reach in this game. It's 8 in a row now retired by Holland since the Jones double in the first. Derek Holland has 52 major league wins. This is his 7th season. He had his left knee surgery in January of 2014. And then was on the DL last year from March 3rd all the way through August the 30th. Now the Rangers got him back out on the mound in September.
I think he was their pitcher of the month.
Yeah, he went 2-0, 1.46 in 6 appearances, 5 of those starts.
I was talking to Tom Grieve, a longtime player, GM, broadcaster here. He said he had a very good spring. Came out in that first start and was throwing about 84. That hurt his shoulder. And 4th start since that injury.
Yeah, April the 10th he made his season debut and then went on the DL the next day. And long time for that shoulder to heal. April 11th to August 19th he was on the DL. So back-to-back shortened seasons for Holland. And he gets at him on a swing and a miss at a pitch down and in.
Well, he just has 3 good pitches, and then when you couple that with command, I mean, if you have more than one pitch and it's a quality pitch and you can locate it, very tough to do much about it. He's not getting a lot of pitches to hit. I mean, if you go back to the only game that the Orioles certainly could come back and win this game today, but it was the Cueto game. What did he do? The game they hit 5 home runs. All these pitches, and he's a good pitcher. Ended up in the middle of the plate. Orioles didn't miss him. They have not seen a lot of real hittable pitches. Now, are they using the whole field? No. Are they taking walks? No. But they don't really ever do that.
Right.
I mean, they're down in 12th, 13th in on-base percentage. Well, they hit home runs.
And that is really the quandary here, because if you ask Buck Showalter, strategically, what can you do differently than sit back and wait for the big inning? And there really is no answer, because that's how this roster is put together.
Yeah, you talked about it. I mean, 36 steals.
And there's a base hit past Holland.
Well, this is what you talked about. I think Chris Davis, he's had a tremendous second half. But the 292 average is because against lefties, he doesn't try to do as much. He uses the middle of the field. And there's a result right there. We saw it last night. Hit a ball back up the middle. Nobody playing there. Take a look right here, inside out. That's the inside out swing. That ball really not that close, but close enough to duck.
Holland didn't know whether to go after it or get out of the way, and he decided to get out of the way.
Well, one of the reasons is a lot of times when balls are hit either up on the label or off the end, you don't know how hard they're hit, and your first reaction is kind of a jump. And sometimes you only end up about 54 feet away from home plate. Chris Tillman was saying, I said, you threw pretty well in Kansas City. He said, yeah, but I keep getting hit by line drives. I can't get out of the way. And you get into those situations.
Strike one, the Weeders. And he'll pop it up. Center of the diamond. Andrews is taking charge. And he's got it. So a 2-out base hit. And Davis left stranded. Mid-4th in Arlington, 3-0 Rangers. University College in our moment in history, August 30th, 1905. Ty Cobb made his major league debut, and he hit a double off Jack Chesbro for his first career base hit. Cobb, of course, went on to have 4,189 base hits. That was his record until Pete Rose broke that record in 1985. And then in 1988, Kent Tekulve became the second major league pitcher to appear in 1,000 games. He pitched 2 innings in the Phillies' 7-5 win over San Francisco. Miguel Gonzalez, 3 runs allowed on 6 hits. And in each rally, it was 3 consecutive singles that led to the rallies. And last inning, he had 2 outs and nobody on and allowed a run. And the way the Orioles are not scoring, those add-on runs are critical against the O's. Jimenez grounded out his first at bat.
Yeah, they're going to try to throw him the soft stuff. He got a curveball to hit it hard, but Schoop playing almost right behind Miguel Gonzalez at second base was able to catch it easily. Big long home run on Friday night. How about coming in? You know, as you were talking on Friday night, he was a guy that they really had on their AAA roster just in case.
What if guy?
Yeah, and then Chirinos gets hurt, Corporate gets hurt. He's coming into this game 4 home runs and 42 at bats.
He went too far, says Jim Reynolds.
Do not throw him the fastball. And Miguel, when he's right, I'm not sure he's right, he's certainly capable of getting him out with one of the other 3 pitches.
And there's a ball hit to Giannis. And 1 away here in the 4th inning. Let's get a look at the O's upcoming schedule, brought to you by Mile One Automotive, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit us in-store or online at mile1.com. O's go home for a 3-game homestand. Tampa Bay's in town. There's night games tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the O's will have a day off on Thursday, but they will travel. They go right back on the road on Thursday. Hanser Alberto will take outside. Bounced out to Machado, his first at bat. Another start with Rougned Odor on the bench.
Yeah, you think that's kind of a break. He had a couple of home runs earlier in the week, and then over the last weekend, 11 home runs for 280.
Bad hop hit him on the finger, and it took the nail off.
Good splitter right there, underneath the strike zone. And that's where Miguel lives when he's pitching well.
And he got him.
Yep. Those are about as good splitters as he's thrown in about 3 weeks. So again, the good split to your fastball, you finish it, great life, starts in the zone, goes from strike to ball. And one of the problems he's had, Jim, is that a lot of the balls are going from balls to strikes. He's pitching well, starts in the zone, and becomes a ball. Hasn't been able to throw a lot of pitches there as his pitching coach, or at least one of them, Dave Wallace.
The shield shows bunt, and he'll take a strike. Got the rally in the first going with a bloop single to right field.
Well, if he gets another base hit, he will now have 4 consecutive games of multi-hit games. High on base percentage for the Shields at 35%, 357 coming in. A lot of walks for a young hitter.
And the 1-1 has hit the center field. Adam Jones back on it. He's got a play, and he puts it away for the out. So the pattern continues. The odd number innings, Texas scored. The even number innings, they've gone 3 up and 3 down. Let's get a look at our Mazda do-ups. Caleb Joseph, Jonathan Schoop, and Dario Alvarez for the O's. contribute $50 to support the March of Dimes. The O's have drawn 310 walks for a total of $15,500. CareFirst Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and a more active lifestyle. Caleb Joseph leads off for the O's, who are trailing 3-0. Caleb DHing today.
Yeah, you're kind of looking for maybe Derek Holland to help you out a little bit. Get behind, walk somebody, lead off batter. It just doesn't happen. And again, the stuff's been real good. That was at 94. He's taken a little bit off. He's added, mixed in a nice little breaking ball. It's almost like he says, I want to be like Cole Hamels. That's how good Hamels was the other night.
Don't we all?
Well, but I mean, this is mirroring what he was able to do. There's your.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hit by a pitch on 0-2, and the Orioles get a base runner.
Yeah, painful way to get on, but you're looking for something. Because when you get a runner on, it does open up holes. So he tries to come in, something he's been very adept at doing. And then just comes in too far. So there's a leadoff batter. You know, I've been out there, Jim, where you're rolling along and then all of a sudden either they get a hit or you walk somebody or you hit somebody. And then the next guy gets a hit and you start feeling the pressure. Boy, I got to get some outs. Game changes a little bit.
Strike on the outside corner. Jonathan popped up foul his first at bat. Target ball, but foul. Now, in his career, Holland has allowed 111 home runs, but only 10 by left-handed batters. So 101 right-handed. Another reason why this lineup today for the O's is stacked with the righties. Chris Davis, the only lefty in the lineup.
There's a pitch to hit and fouls it straight back. Yeah, this year not enough at bats where to really give you an idea. I mean, both righties and lefties hitting well. But again, all the home runs hit by right-handed batters, all 5 of them.
He's ahead of Scope 0-2. And a chopper slowly hit. Andrews would go to second out there, back to first, and safe. Here's the call at first as Scope just beat it out.
Yeah, they do a pretty nice job of getting the ball quickly as you can on the transfer. And then if Jonathan giving the balls away from you, get out of the box a little bit better. So there's Andrews and the quick throw, and then very, very close. I'm wondering if Jeff Bannister's not going to maybe take a look at coming out. I think he thinks that throw, it looked to me that actually the throw beat Jonathan Scope. So they're going to ask to see it in replay.
It's fielded Culbreth. He is the crew chief.
Well, just think about it. You got a 3-0 lead. You have a pitcher that doesn't have a lot of innings. And boy, if you can get another out here, you'll have 2 outs. You'll cut down on base runners, pitch count.
And the way things have been going for the O's, this probably will be reversed and Scope will be out.
Well, but that won't be a luck factor. That'll just be that the throw beat him.
Yeah, I think he's out. I think the foot was in the air.
Yeah, really tough. I don't know if there's enough to change it from that angle. I certainly understand why Jeff Bannister's out there. Because of save him some pitches. You got a lead.
Scope and Wayne Kirby looking up at the big screen in center field. 2 angles, it appears too close to call, and the one looked like his foot was still in the air before it came down on the base. The ball was in a glove.
They only have to see one definitive reason to change it. Otherwise, it will stand.
That was a heck of a turn.
It really was.
Ball was not hit that hard.
And then Caleb Joseph did a nice job trying to interfere with Alberto on the throw. Get down there as quickly as he could.
Taking a long time. Must be having trouble determining if there's enough evidence to overturn it. Players continue to look up at the big screen in center field.
Meanwhile, they play the background music to Homeland. Which, incidentally, they do a lot of the shooting actually in Baltimore.
No, that's House of Cards.
Well, House of Cards, but yeah, Homeland. Well, I don't know. I thought Homeland. No.
Oh, maybe.
I'm wrong. House of Cards is definitely looking for Kevin or Robin Ray. This is a long time. There's got to be something there, or they already would have made their call.
I agree.
Unfortunately.
Chatting with Gerardo Parra on the bench. And this is not good for the pitcher. He's just been standing out there.
Well, he can't throw because Jimenez is actually his catcher standing on the mound with him.
A verdict has been reached. And it's safe, so they do not overturn it. So, Jim, your read on that there wasn't sufficient evidence to change the call, so it stands.
Of course, their read is the important one.
That's right. So the Orioles have a 1-out base runner instead of 2 outs and nobody on. Dario Alvarez now.
Well, again, you know, you're looking for little things. You get Caleb Joseph being hit by the pitch on an 0-2 pitch. Now you got a long wait, probably almost close to 4 minutes, and you're hoping that Alvarez could hit. Doesn't have to be a double. That would be nice. Going to do what they did. Just start putting some singles together.
The official delay time, 3 minutes and 38 seconds. And a good take there. So 1-1 on Alvarez, playing in his 3rd big league game.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting to see down the road. I mean, can he hit the ball to all fields? And they're going to certainly mess with him. Looks like he's got a pretty good fastball hitter.
Well, in AAA, he was first in the International League in at-bats. He was tied for first in games played with 130. He was 3rd in total bases, 4th in hits, and 5th in RBIs. So he was having a pretty good all-around year for the Tides.
And the way the scouting is, they certainly have people that have seen him play. So they'll, how do you want to pitch him? Or where's his power? Is it up, down, in, out? It's the kind of things that can he hit the ball the other way? Can he hit quality pitches? Sometimes you can't really discern that at the minor league level.
And a base hit to right field.
So we got some of the questions answered right here.
Real good swing down in the count 1-2.
So now all of a sudden Derek Holland again, he hits Joseph, does get an out, almost got a double play, and then he's ahead of him with 2 strikes, and he just stays inside it. I like to see this with a young hitter, not trying to do too much. Nice, sweet swing. Toughest guys are to get out are the guys that can spray it all over the place.
So Giannis now has a hitting streak going, 2 in a row. Giannis is up. Dario Alvarez, excuse me. Giannis is at the plate. Giannis had his hitting streak halted last night. He had hit 3 in a row. This ball's lifted to right field. That is playable. And Chu has it, so the runners have to hold. 2 down on the fly ball out.
So the Orioles now 0 for 2 on my card with runners in scoring position. Yeah, I was kind of looking through this 10-game streak. I had them 19 for 76, which is around 250. So that's not a horrible number, but certainly down from the 318 they were back when they swept a doubleheader against Cleveland, and on the year 281, which is a very good number.
Well, in the 2 games in this series, the team has hit a combined 188, 12 for 64, and has scored 4 runs in 2 games. And they've also struck out 19 times, plus now you add the 6 today. Here's Manny, slicing foul down the line.
You know, and it seems like it's so simple. You're sitting on the bench. I mean, you know, the Orioles know what's going on. They know that sometimes all it takes is one swing, one hit. Doesn't always have to be a rocket up the gap. It can be a little jam shot, kind of what the Shields did to start the game. And then all of a sudden you go, okay, we got him in a little bit of trouble. And the next guy comes up and has a quality at bat. Pierce on deck. He's been swinging the bat well. So all Manny has to do is have a quality at bat, hit the ball hard somewhere, and hope that.
Ball gets away from Alberto.
You can see this is a pretty well managed ball club when you get first and second 3-0 lead, and you're trying to get out of the inning with one of the better Oriole hitters at the plate by trying to pick them off. And I'm not sure that wouldn't have been a lot closer if he could have put a handle on it, which he couldn't.
Oh, and 1 on Machado, who has struck out and popped up. And a slicer to right field. Chu over towards the line. He'll get there. And he puts it away. So Machado's retired, and the Orioles strand 2 more. Mid-5th in Arlington, Texas, with a 3-0 lead on the Orioles. They needed a win, and they needed an Akron loss. But Reading defeated the Bay Sox 9-8. Chance Sisco 1 for 5 with a 3-run homer, and Quincy Lattimore 1 for 4, double 2 RBIs. So the magic number to reach the playoffs remains at 2. Akron is trailing 11-1 against Richmond. So if Akron loses, that goes down to 1. Magic number to clinch the division is 5. They're trying to get to the playoffs for the 6th time in the 23-year history of the franchise. Real good year for Gary Kendall and the Bay Sox. At the road. Or Alan Mills, excuse me, is the pitching coach there.
Yeah, one of the good guys. Done a nice job, as he did when he pitched for the Orioles.
Check swing by Chu. Gets ahead in the count. Fielder on deck, and then Beltre.
It's funny, he takes the 1-0 splitter and then swings at the 2-1. Identical pitches. But they were good. They were dancing.
Fastball for a strike. Shu didn't think so.
Well, that's the familiar Miguel Gonzalez, living at the bottom of the zone, and when he gets ahead, not that 2-2 is ahead, that's when he could go up and in or throw his curveball, get it out of the zone.
Weak ground ball. Scope will charge. And Shu is retired for the first out in the Texas fifth inning. Fans, on Saturday, September 12th, the Orioles will take on the Royals. It's a special 1:05 afternoon game. And the first 20,000 fans, 15 and over, will receive a Birdland knit scarf. Tickets for that afternoon game are going fast, so get your tickets now by visiting Orioles.com or call 888-848-BIRD. Here is Prince Fielder. Singled in the 2-run rally in the first. Flied out to left his last at bat. Prince and his father Cecil are the only father-son combo in big league history to each have a 50 home run season. Cecil hit 51 back in 1990, and Prince hit 50 in 2007 with Milwaukee.
I think he had another year where he hit the 46, something like that. Monster years.
There's a bouncer to first, played there by Davis, and flip to Miguel, and 2 quick outs. 6 in a row retired by Miguel.
Well, the stuff looks sharper. Again, one of those warm days here in Texas, 93. Quality of pitches. Able to cover, catcher comes out. Give you a little extra time.
And here is Beltre, who got the rally going in the third with a 2-out single. Came around the score. He also has an RBI and a sac fly in the first inning. That got the first run in. And it's outside for ball 2. Beltre has had 11 seasons with 20 or more home runs. He's at 13 as he bats here today.
Trying to go for number 14 there.
And 2 outs and none on. And a foul back. Miguel in this ballpark in his career has pitched pretty well. It's only a couple of starts, but 1-1 with an ERA of 3.86. And this is definitely, as Jim has been alluding to all weekend, a hitter's park.
Yeah. But he can pitch when he's healthy and he's making his pitches. He can pitch down and he can run the ball in, and he can he's got pretty good movement on that fastball. Not he's not overpowering velocity wise. But again, if you're trying to hit against him and he's on his game, he's going to give you 4 pitches to look at, and you never know really what's coming.
Just got a piece.
That's a 2-seamer down and in after he tried to throw a 4-seamer away. But physically, he's not a guy that can't pitch at 100%.
So 2-2 on Beltre with the bases empty and 2 down. And he won't chase. Ball 3.
Yeah, you look at the scoreboard when you're pitching in games like this and you say, okay, this home run last night, 2-run shot. And I can't afford to make a mistake in the middle of the plate or it's going to be 4-0. And that's what not getting runs does to you. You become a little more tentative.
And he stays alive.
Even though the guy on deck is already about 5 for 12 off you. Just cannot give in. And the scoreboard kind of dictates that.
Well, he put himself in a hole in the first inning. 3 straight singles, then a sac fly. And then the wild pitch that Wieters was unable to block allowed the second run to score. And then the 3 consecutive singles in the third after 2 outs and nobody on. Here comes the 10th pitch in this at bat to Adrian Beltre. And he popped it up, and that's going to be back in the crowd. Beltre now 36. 4-time All-Star, 4 Gold Gloves. Made his debut with the Dodgers in 1998 when he was 19 years old.
17th year. He came in with a little
18th
bit.
Year.
Well, maybe the 17th full year. There's a walk. 12 pitches. Major League service, 16 years and 96 days, so that's kind of a partial year, or half a year.
He made his debut in June of that year.
So 17 and a half years in the big league.
I rounded it off. Well, Miguel didn't give in, but Beltre prolonged the at bat with the foul, so he draws the 2-out walk for Moreland. Fastball inside to back him off the plate. Moreland doesn't move. Miguel has hit 7 batters on the year because, as Jim mentioned, he will work inside.
Well, he has to. I mean, all pitchers have to some degree.
But not all do, though.
No.
There's the fear factor that if you don't get it inside, it's out over the plate in the happy zone.
Well, that's why the count is so important. George Bamberger, actually my second pitching coach, as you look at T.J. McFarland. George was a location guy. Ray Miller used to always say, hey, we pitch in when we're either ahead in the count or even. 3-2, you don't do it. You establish low and away, and it makes it easier to get the ball in. Marlins looking out over the plate here.
And he lifts it to center field. Jones back on it, but Adam has it for the out. So the 2-out walk does not hurt as Miguel gets Moreland. We are through 5 in Arlington. Those have some work to do, down 3-0. Maryland Fire Chiefs and Maryland State Firemen's Associations. Email mdfirevolunteer@gmail.com to volunteer with your local fire, rescue, and EMS. And by USAA, proudly serving the needs of the military community for over 90 years. Wow, that looks good, Jim.
Oh.
Lunch.
Now, is that the hot dog that goes on the boomstick? Yeah, the boomstick is there.
Steve Pearce, first ball swinging. Lazy fly ball to center field, so he's retired and one away in the Orioles 6th.
But the boomstick is
in Seattle.
No, it's here. They have a truck that rides around the Casey Willett, who does the engineer for the radio here. Fred Manfred, Joe Angel. There it is. He came. It was like he was cradling a little baby, and he ate the whole thing. So I think that's, I don't know, that's $28. Not only is it a big hot dog, it has a big.
And then you make an appointment with your cardiologist.
Yeah, exactly. Something light. In case you missed breakfast today, Joe. Maybe you get that before you get on the plane. Or maybe not. Maybe we could split it.
All right. I'm up for that. You're a hot dog fan. You have at least one per game.
Try to. Nitrates. Very important for your diet.
Nitrates? Does Dr. Goldner agree with that?
No. I don't think any doctor agrees with it.
Adams down in the count 0-2. Holland is pitching a fine game. Only one time in this game the Orioles have had 2 on in the same inning. And you got back-to-back fly balls to end that threat. Upstairs with a fastball 1-2.
Well, if you can pitch, and Derek Holland, when he's healthy, can do it. I think the mentality should be if they get you 2 early runs, boy, I can kind of not coast, but I can go out there and pitch because they're going to have to get 3 to get a lead. And then, of course, when they get you a 3-0 lead, they got it over. They got to get 4 to get a lead. So you just go out there and do what you're capable of doing. That's what good pitchers do.
So 2 away on the ground out. You can join Masson and Chris Davis for an autograph signing at Dempsey's tomorrow. Be on the lookout today for an event ticket tweet from @MassonOrioles on Twitter to secure your place in line. This exclusive event is open to @MassonOriole followers only. So be sure to follow @MassonOrioles on Twitter to be eligible for an autograph and for additional event details.
It's pretty close to the ballpark, right out on Utah Street.
Yeah.
Great food. You get the cheeseburger when you go to Ritz.
Is that right?
The Deppers. Yeah. More fish tacos, or
I've had the burger.
A multitude of. Well, you work with. He orders up.
There's a foul ball.
What do you do? You do the pregame, and then you watch the game. Food arrives.
Food arrives
in carts.
And Leroy usually brings it over.
Oh, there you go.
Holland gets ahead of Davis 0-2. Chris is 1 out of 2. The Orioles have 3 hits in this game. They were held to 1 run on 3 hits in the opener on Friday night. It's got to be tremendously frustrating for this team because it's not as if they're getting blown out. It's not as if they're not competing. They just can't score.
Well, I think people say, well, they're kind of lackadaisical and whatever. That's not the case. Good pitching can really do that. You see Ventura throw 99 to 100. Medlin pitched very well. Again, pitched well last night for Kansas City. Get a #1 starter in Cole Hamels. You don't get a lot of opportunities.
Real good at bat here for Chris as he works the count full.
That's a good take in the sense that again, he didn't swing at a ball. Very easy. It's very easy to get guys that are slumping or feel like you got to do something to expand the strike zone. Or maybe the Orioles will get their first walk. Nope.
Foul off the mask of Jim Reynolds, the umpire.
And the other thing about Derek Holland today, I mean, here we are in the 6th inning, and he's 1 strike from possibly getting out. That's the ball off Reynolds' mask. He's only thrown 73 pitches. So he not only has good stuff, but good command.
And another 3-2 pitch is low. Oh, excuse me, strike 3. Chris thought it was low. And he's rung up by Jim Reynolds. So another called strike 3 of Chris Davis. That is 7 Ks in the game for Derek Holland. The Rangers with a 3-0 lead. Homestand against Tampa Bay. Wei-Yin Chen will be on the mound tomorrow against Chris Archer. Our coverage on Masson begins at 6:30 with those extra presented by Southwest. And then game coverage at 7 o'clock. We've got all the access you need right here on Masson.
So the Orioles, 28-25 against the American League East, 9-6 against the Rays. So again, always closely contested because of their pitching. Not a great offensive ball club, but when you get good pitching, you don't usually need to score a lot of runs. And then, of course, Chris Archer, who better than Wei-Yin Chen to pitch against him? And there's the Oriole fan saying, let's stir up some offense. Come on. Even though we'll have to wait a half an inning.
Andrews takes ball one. He'll be followed by Venable and Jimenez. Miguel was at 90 pitches as this inning began.
The RBI by Elvis in the third inning, and didn't hit it very hard, but put it in play. Didn't strike out. Infield hit. His speed enabled him to beat it out. And they scored their third run.
Bunt, and it's a beauty. Miguel gets to it. He throws, not nearly in time, and he throws it away. But backing up his scope. So that'll be a bunt single for Elvis Andrews. So little ball as Texas looks to add on runs here in the sixth inning.
Yeah, it gets to it very quickly, but again, the speed factor, and the Orioles are very electric. Hector Ortiz, first base coach, says stay right here. So you can see just a desperation throw. Well, actually, Ortiz is pointing to go to second. Orioles backed that up pretty well. He probably would have been thrown out. It's a good thing that Elvis has been around long enough not to kind of check out where everybody was playing. Otherwise, it would have been the first out of the inning.
Here is Will Venable. He has struck out and popped foul to Machado.
Yeah, now you got to pay attention. Even though they play him to pull, with the exception of Manny Machado, he'll play at third pretty much straight up. But it opens up holes. You have speed. You're just not stealing as many bases in years past. Garcia third time up, so the pitch count now at 93. You would imagine a chance of getting in this game.
Andrews went with the ball fouled off.
Now a lot of options if you're Jeff Bannister. You can move the runners, you can steal. I think if they were playing conventional defense, you may wait an out to let them have the hole, maybe get the first and third. Never like to get a leadoff batter on, but if the leadoff batter has speed, it makes it even more difficult not to give up a run.
Andrews with a steal in this game now has 13 stolen bases. Fastball right there, so 0-2 on Venable. Yeah, we have seen in this series what an asset speed can be. And it's not one of the strengths of the Orioles.
Well, you saw it in Kansas City. Minnesota came in, those 4 games. Well, 3 of them were one-run ball games. I mean, that's what they do. And they're a young ball club. Paul Molitor. Just trying to utilize young players and making them use the whole field and hit behind the runners. Yeah, it's a denominator it's hard to compete with, speed, because it just changes the pace of the game.
Now 1-2 on Will Venable. And just did get a piece.
When you go into, when we used to play the Oakland A's, and they won world championships in 72, 3, and 4. And of course, they had Bando and Reggie Jackson and Rick Monday. Pretty nice offensive team, but the guys. Well, Gene Tennis, yeah, he was one of the, I think, 72 MVP in the World Series. But the guys that really could annoy you was Campaneris and Bill North, because they could get on and steal bases. They could manufacture runs. And it usually translates that you maybe have, of course, the Orioles is one of the better defensive clubs, if not the best defensive club in baseball. It usually translates to your defense, too.
Mm-hmm. One, 2 on Venable. And he fights it off again. In 24 starts, averaging 94.2. He's at 110 for a season high, and he is about to throw his 99th. And he finally got him.
Yeah, terrific pitch right there. And just think about run support. If the Orioles were at home where they average 5 runs a game and they've got some early offense, not just 5, but even 4 here. Here's a splitter. It just tumbles out of the zone. It's a good one. But if the Orioles put some runs on the board, you'd say, gee, Miguel's pitching pretty well. Because this is a game, with a couple of exceptions, of run support. You know, maybe Price and Hamels and Greinke and Kershaw, people like that, but most of the time to win you need to get 4, 4.5, 5 runs. And if that was the case this afternoon, you'd say, yeah, he's done a nice job. But when it's, I've been out there, when it's 3-0, you're going, I'm not doing like I want to do, or I'm not as good as I think I can be. Well, if he makes a pitch here and he gets a ground ball and gets a double play, he will pitch 6th inning, and I'm not saying it's a quality start because the ERA is 4.50, but he will have kept them in the ballgame.
Right, which is the first job.
Yeah.
But the Orioles have managed only 3 base hits. They've had 4 base runners, and all 4 have been left on base. They have not yet scored. So the drought continues here in Texas. Jimenez has grounded out twice. He caught Friday night when Cole Hamels pitched, and he's catching today. Andrews runs, and it's poked foul.
Yeah, that's Jeff Bannister trying to stay out of the double play. Somebody's got to cover. Jimenez a better hitter if he's able to poke it where somebody was playing, and also you stay out of the double play. Have a chance and add a run.
See, Scope is shading up the middle in the shift against Jimenez. Texas has won 6 of 8 at 21 of its last 29 games. And it hit him. So on a 1-2 pitch, Miguel plunks Jimenez, so 2 on and 1 out. And here comes Buck.
Yeah, well, that's the pitch count. You know, again, a chance, and again, he's battling him all the way of trying to make his pitch. He thinks he can go in, maybe to strike him out, or set up the outside corner. As it turns out, he plunks him.
So Miguel will leave after 5 1/3. He trails 3-0. Jason Garcia will come on for the O's.
those are the numbers. So not as many fastballs, maybe a few more breaking balls, change-ups, the early runs, the 2 of them, and then battles all the way till Jason Zara comes in. Jiffy Lube pitching change. It's time for a little relief for your car too. Visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube, drive in today. Well, there he is, a Rule 5 guy, power arm, fastball, slider pitcher. And as we've seen, he's pretty much been up 3 times, so he should be very, very loose. Again, the average is really right kind of where you want, but it's out of A ball.
Runners go, and no throw to third. Andrews took off on Garcia, and Wieters held on to the baseball.
Oh, this is a smart base runner. And, again, young pitcher, rookie on the mound. He didn't pay attention. Elvis said, double play still in order, but I can steal it. Now even, fly ball, whatever. Try another chance of getting the run in. And the only thing when you're in scoring position, you better make it, and he did.
We're 1-0 on Alberto. And he looks to bunt, and he fouls it off.
Yeah, I don't think that was a straight suicide. Might have been one of those safety squeeze. Put it in play if you get it by the pitcher. And just with very good speed could have scored.
It's a big run out there at third base. Orioles trail 3-0. One, 2 is the count. And it's outside. Garcia has not been in a game since last Saturday against Minnesota. This is with the fastball inside.
Yeah, arm drop a little bit on that. And of course, if you have a veteran pitcher out there, you're certainly the ability to command your stuff, and a guy that doesn't play a lot, strikeout potential at the plate.
Count is even now, 2-2. Towards the middle, and there's a base hit. Alberto comes through, and there's a 4th run for the Rangers as Andrews scores. They got ahead of him, couldn't put him away.
Well, it's very much like the hit that Andrews got early in the game where he just put it in play. This is a high slider. If you field your position, it's probably a double play ball. Jason Garcia falls off. Watch him go left. So he's gone. It's right back up over the mound. It's not hit that hard, but hit hard enough on a fast infield to get into center field. Certainly not the pitch he wanted to make with 2 strikes. Just left it up a little bit. And of course, you got McFarland up for the next hitter, which is Chu.
Here's the Shields for his 4th at bat.
That was a swing.
Reynolds called it a strike.
Well, at least he has a sense of humor enough to laugh at it because he's going, how did I do that? I know why he did it, because the slider could be, that was a good slider. That was the one he wanted to throw to Alberto.
Check swing and a foul.
So 2 quality pitches. And it's so difficult to come out of A ball and then be hurt. He's hurt in spring training with a hamstring problem, so he's kind of behind everybody. Made the club because you have to keep him all year. And then he had the shoulder problems. Up and down, rehab.
McGill looking on, already 4 earned runs on his ledger. 0-2 on Delino DeShields. Strike 3 call.
He thought it was low, but again, if you're around the zone and you make a good pitch, and this is a good pitch, check out the glove. That definitely could have been under the zone. The Orioles get a break.
Here comes Buck. Jason Garcia, so he faces 2 batters, allows an inherited runner to score, and we'll get McFarland to face Chu with 2 on and 2 out in the 6th.
Hitter, right fielder. A couple of innings on this road trip. Pitched Friday night and pitched successfully. So there are a lot of fastballs. 91 to 93, and then the ERA coming down. It's an innings pitched. He pitches the contact, and again early on, he's a ground ball pitcher. A lot of balls by right-handers finding holes. Orioles, of course, looking for outs here. That's the number. That's really one of the grades. It's one of the criteria you get graded on. Yeah. So Garcia comes in, inherited runner. Last night, the winning run of Michael Gibbons. A very important part of the sabermetrics. How you do when you come in with men on, because it's a lot tougher than sometimes closing.
Chu is 1 out of 3. It's ahead 1-0. Chu is 1 for 6 head-to-head against McFarland, as you see.
And 3 of his 16 home runs, a 199 hitter against left-handers.
Good breaking ball, throw behind the runner at second, and out at second base is Jimenez.
Well, what a throw by Matt Wieters. Well, that's how you get out of an inning.
Jeff Bannister's coming out to talk about it with Field and Culbreth.
Well, just take a look at the throw, right on the money. There's your tag. Yanich drops it. And of course, he might think the tag is up the arm. But he already used his challenge and lost.
So that'll end the inning. Texas gets a run. Today, USAA honors all of our service members at home and abroad. transmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Sparse crowd on this Sunday afternoon in this big ballpark.
Well, the Cowboys are back in action, even though the regular season hasn't started.
Yeah, they played last night.
Well, they ended up losing, I think, what, 28-14. But if you, the Dallas Morning News, baseball, even though Hamels pitched that marvelous game, was on page 7.
I saw that.
Kind of like going by the Blue Jays, of course, a big deal up in Toronto. But you go to Toronto, a lot of times you get baseball as page 10 in hockey.
Even in the offseason. Well, the Orioles need base runners. Wieters is 0 for 2. He has struck out and popped up to short. He is 3 for 19 on the trip. This ball's ripped to left field, but right there is Venable. And he's got it for the out. So a hard hit ball, but right at the left fielder, and one away. Your favorite Orioles are back with their favorite dogs and cats. It's the 2016 Orioles Pet Calendar. Proceeds from this brand new 16-month calendar benefit Barks, the Baltimore Animal Rescue and Care Shelter. Calendars are now available at Oriole Park or at the official Orioles team store in York, Pennsylvania. You can order a copy as well. Go online, Orioles.com/pet-calendar. Here's Caleb Joseph. Caleb is DHing today. He was hit by a pitch his last at bat, flied out in the second. The Orioles have hit just one home run in this series. That was the solo by Steve Pearce last night. And with this team, it is all about the long ball. They struggle to manufacture runs.
Well, we talked about Perez who hadn't thrown a home run, and that was his 8th start, and Pearce ended that on a hanging breaking ball. And again, Derek Holland, he's wheeling and dealing. He got out of trouble after he hit Caleb on 2 strikes in the 5th. And then right there, a nice little breaking ball. Don't have to throw it for a strike because of the count. Of course, he earned that because he got ahead. And it makes the perfect pitch.
So 8 Ks. He has not walked a batter, although he has hit one. Here's Scope, 2 outs and nobody on. Those have lost 3 consecutive series, and they have won just 1 in their last 7. They are 1-5-1 in their last 7 series. It just dawned on me why so many more people prefer sitting in first base here. It's because that's where the shade is. They scouted it out.
Oh yeah,
much more comfortable on that side. Jonathan has popped foul the first and bounced into a force play. Down and in, the reaction is get out of the way. One and 2 on Scope. And he got it. Off-speed breaking ball. Boy, he is dealing. 9 strikeouts in the game. 7th inning stretch in Arlington, Texas. 4-0 Rangers.
Sacrifice fly by Beltre, and a wild pitch. Here comes Chu to make it 2-0, and then the right off the end of the bat, and Andrus able to hustle, still making an excellent play, but he beats the throw to make it 3-0, and Derek Holland trying to run his record to 2-1. And he's been outstanding, a little bit like Cole Hamels was on Friday night, as he's clutched out 9. Those are Geico game highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate book.
A warm day here in Texas, which it usually is.
Yeah. Something wrong if it wasn't.
Marlins stays on. The final out of the 6th inning was recorded with the kickoff at second base as Wieters got Jimenez. Apparently that is the first time this year that the Rangers had exhausted their challenge and could not challenge a play that they felt would go in their favor, as you and I both thought that one would have.
Well, it could have, yeah. Of course, that was old school, where actually the manager comes out and discusses something with the umpire. Usually it's just gesturing.
Well, as promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to the hashtag #OsCouchCam, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Let's get the puck known. Frustrating road trip. If the Orioles don't come back here, it'll be a 1-6 trip. And this concludes the stretch of 33 straight games outside of the AL East. And Chu takes a strike. Beginning tomorrow, the Orioles have 32 games left. 26 are in the division. They have 3 home games against Kansas City and 3 road games in Washington against the Nationals. There's a bouncer towards Scope to his right. Chu's retired 1 away. The Rangers are 67 and 61 off this surge, and they have done an amazing job against the AL East. 22 and 11 against the East. And how do you get back in contention? You win series. That's what it's all about. That's what every team tries to do. Texas has won 8 of their last 12 series. They are 8-3 plus 1 split.
And they've done it with a team, even though John Daniels, what his official title is, general manager, vice president.
He's the boss.
Yeah. And they've really made some nice acquisitions. And they've gotten some guys healthy. Derek Holland was putting on a clinic today. Certainly one of them. Perez last night didn't get I don't believe he got the win.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did, actually. They scored that 4th run when he was still in the game, and so he's back from Tommy John. Bullpen help with Dyson and Diekman, and a couple of catchers on the DL. So they went out and got Jimenez and Bobby Wilson, all kinds of different players, and they played well.
Well, they are a big market team, and they don't mind spending the money on salaries. I mean, Prince Fielder is a big ticket item. Now they have Cole Hamels.
I think
they gave their shortstop Elvis Andrus $118 million.
Long term, and of course I do believe that the Tigers maybe picked up some of Fielder's salary.
It works out to 1 year, over the
but it was $24 million. Yeah, $24 million. And then they also got Josh Hamilton. A name we don't really talk about very much is, and he's getting close to getting back, is Josh Hamilton. He's back and hasn't played a lot for him, but certainly somebody that can help him down the stretch.
Yeah, they feel when Hamilton is activated after the rosters expand that he'll be a bench player.
And maybe do some DHing. But if the Rangers win and Houston loses, it'll be 2 games in the loss column.
And another base hit for Fielder. He is 2 for 4. So Texas gets a 1-out base runner. You can follow the Orioles wherever you are with MLB.com at bat. It is the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts. You get the StatCast and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Dave Wallace and Buck Showalter on the bench. Here's Adrian Beltre. He has had 3 productive at-bats. Sac fly in the first, single and a run scored in the third, and then a 2-out walk in the 5th.
Yeah, and the 2-out base hit kind of triggered another rally. 2 in the first, and they got a couple of single runs. Third and the 6th inning was a part of it. 2-run home run last night. It's funny when they came to Baltimore and they won 3 out of 4. He never went on the DL. He just had a thumb injury, and he just kind of came back, probably prematurely. So certainly probably healthier now than he was then.
McFarland falls behind Beltre. Beltre is 0 for 3 head-to-head against TJ.
A little changeup, hoping that he would chase, and he doesn't. Probably the right pitch, wrong location. A lot of times that's what pitching's all about.
Driven to right, there's Alvarez. The Orioles got it for the out and 2 down. So adjusting well to the large stadium.
Yeah, we saw last night. I mean, one ball maybe came across a little bit more, but the ball kited on him and got up the gap. I'm not sure he would have caught it anyway. That is one of the things. And it's just different. Ball carries a little bit different. That's why you really have to go out and take balls off the bat. Batting practice come out. I still remember one of the great stories. Paul O'Neill. He was hitting about 350 at AAA in Indianapolis when he was with Cincinnati, and they called somebody else up and he sprinted in. He said, "Well, I'm hitting 350," and they said no, they wanted a complete player up in Cincinnati. And he said he never ever failed to take balls off the bat from that day on. He said it was like somebody kind of put a knife and started twisting it, because that's what I think Lou Piniella was managing up in Cincinnati at the time. And of course he would play for them and then go on to have a great career with the Yankees, win a batting title. But he learned his lesson, and that's how young players can get better. I saw Al Bumbry do it. I mean, every day.
Well, there certainly are enough fly balls hit during batting practice.
Well, you know who does it as well as anybody here is, and that's Chris Davis. When Chris became a right fielder, he goes out there and he's like a gazelle running around the outfield. Because they can hit you all the fungals in the world. Darren O'Day getting loose for the Orioles. I mean, that certainly gives you some idea, but the ball off the bat, you got to play exactly like you do when the game starts.
Here's a bouncer. Manny has it and flips and out at second base. What a play by Giannis.
Yeah, both of them.
Somehow he kept the foot on. Manny into the dive and the flip, and the force at second base on Fielder will end the inning. Now we head to the 8th. Good defense ends the 7th. Our Honda do-ups for the O's: Alvarez, Giannis, and Machado. Series where they were swept by the Twins, batting .226, 30 runs, 3 runs per game, tied for 27th. They have the third most strikeouts, 94. They're tied for 12th in home runs with 9 since June the 29th. .225 batting average with runners in scoring position, second lowest in MLB.
Yeah, they were at .318 leading the league at that particular time, and they were also 41 and 34. So they've gone now 22 and 32 over that 54 game stretch.
And 54 games is a third of a season.
Yep, that it is. And
center field will chase the Shields, but he's got to play. And Lionel runs it down to retire. Alvarez one away. So Holland very pitch efficient, still in there. He was at 84 pitches through 7 innings.
Yeah, we've told you again, the most innings he has pitched was 6 1/3 against Seattle last start. Against Toronto, they hit 3 home runs, 3 solo home runs, gives up 4 runs, but 93, 94 pitches. They can extend him a little bit, and of course he's allowing them to do that by being, as you mentioned, around the strike zone. See, and you think you get pitches hit, but 94 with some life and some deception because you're hiding the ball. Well, isn't 94? So you have pretty good swings, but you don't quite center them, and that's pretty much been the case. Very much like Friday night with Cole Hamels.
Giannis takes ball 1, 1-2 the count.
And then when he misses under the strike zone with a pretty good changeup. And again, if you're Paul, you have no idea what's coming. He's been that good with all 3 pitches this afternoon.
Ball 2, 2-2. He's had a 9-pitch inning. He's had a couple of 10-pitch innings. He's had a couple of 12-pitch innings.
And you can't do that, Jim, if number 1, you don't have good stuff. Number 2, you don't throw a lot of strikes. If you're afraid of throwing strike 1, that's how you get into the high pitch counts.
So from 0-2 to 3-2 on Giannis. Holland started, then stopped. Maybe he wanted to get a new sign.
I think he just didn't feel comfortable with his windup. And
bounce to third. Beltran, in between hop. 2 downish bounces up. Here's the updated wild card race in the American League. Yankees have the top spot. Texas has the second spot, but Minnesota is right on their heels. Angels are 3 back. Tampa Bay 1 today, so they're 4 back, and the Orioles at the moment 4.5, but they would fall 5.5 back with a loss here, and they're down 4-0 in the 8th with 2 outs and nobody on.
And as we mentioned, Houston will now have 59 losses to Texas's 61, and they still have 7 games to play.
Yeah, the Rangers very much would love to get that division title.
I'm just thinking, if you don't, you got to play the wild card game. Zach Britton, who hasn't.
You need some work.
Yeah, doesn't want to be doing it in a losing game, but that's sometimes you don't have a choice.
Strike at the knees on the off-speed pitch.
Well, they're all working. It started with Manning, where he struck out the first time up, thought the ball looked to be a little bit inside. But he has moved it around the strike zone with the best of them. That's Derek Holland.
Brewers have trailed in this game since the first inning. The Rangers starters in their last 15 games have pitched to a combined ERA of 3.05. And 10 of those 15 games were quality starts. And we are certainly seeing that this week, and Mike Maddox doing a great job with a staff that has had so many changes because of the injuries.
And the other thing is then you bring in Chris Jimenez, and then you bring in Bobby Wilson, who are good defensive catchers. Wilson, of course, that's what he's known for. And then you lose Chirinos and Corcoran, and the pitching's actually gotten better. Now they've gotten healthier. Bullpen's better, so you can go to it when you want if you're Jeff Bannister.
Inside ball 3.
He's certainly not afraid. Not afraid of coming in on you.
And he fouls it off to stay alive. Holland has 9 strikeouts. Not walked a batter. He did hit Joseph. And the Orioles have it held to just 3 base hits. Right into the shift. There's Alberto. And another 3-up, 3-down inning for Derek Holland. The Orioles have gone in order in the last 3 innings. 11 in a row retired by Holland. Britton coming on in the 8th.
Miguel Gonzalez trying to win his 10th game, and early on gets the bases loaded, and Beltry. 2-run home run last night. Skies one to Alvarez. They will get the 1-0 lead and then eventually score another run on a wild pitch to take a early 2-0 lead. That is your Miller Lite moment here in Arlington. So Zach Britton will come on. 51st game of the year. A lot of fastballs, slider. That's the breaking ball. So another outstanding year. 30 out of 33. Doesn't walk a lot of guys. Doesn't give up a lot of hits, and when he does, they're infield variety.
Andrews fouls it off. Venable on deck, then Jimenez.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing when you look at. I mean, Zach, they take over the course of these 51 appearances, they put 117 balls in play, 105 on the ground. So lately, they've been shortening up a little bit. Got to play a step in because it's not only throwing grounders in Baltimore, they're like 2 and 3 hoppers.
Right. Scope and Giannis shortened up a step or two,
which is really what you have to do. And of course, this is a very fast infield. And again, who's at the plate? Andrus with very good speed. Zach was kind of kidding. He said, I almost feel like sometimes I got to throw some 4-seam fastballs instead of that 96-mile-per-hour sinker.
Hard hit ball, but right to Giannis.
Yeah, it finds a way to his glove pretty readily, doesn't it? I mean, that ball was hit hard. It came up, and he made it look easy, which is what the scouting report Was on Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fitting very nicely. Playing in his 6th game.
Yeah, take this. I mean, there's your ball. It comes up, and he comes up with it. Ball really below the hop, kind of absorbed it. And it's kind of hard to tell what kind of arm strength he has because he gets rid of the ball so quickly.
Right. Ball 1 to Will Venable, who has never faced Zach Britton.
It's a good thing about being in the National League. You don't have to face Britton.
Breaking ball.
I think he just wants to really kind of work on something. I mean, obviously you can still do that and pitch well, but he doesn't throw a whole lot of sliders. He's at 91% two-seamers, sinkers.
Falls behind 3-0. Zach has not worked since Wednesday in Kansas City, where he picked up a save in the 1 win for the Orioles on this trip. Venable taken all the way, 3-1. For the O's in the 9th, trailing at the moment 4-0. Pierce, Jones, and Davis are due up. And there is nothing doing in the Rangers bullpen, so it looks as if Holland's going to go for the complete game. There's another chopper. And there's another infield hit.
Yeah, I mean, even if you shorten up, you can't do anything about that, but it's just amazing. That's why, again, he was jokingly saying maybe I ought to throw some 4-seamers to maybe hit it a little more direct. And the ball dives, it's mid-90s. By the time you get to it, it's going just amazing.
So Venable has an infield hit. He's 1 for 4. Here's Jimenez, the catcher. And he takes low, ball 1. Matt Wieters out to give Zach a break.
Yeah, just maybe you see something. The thing about Zach, he's been just as he was last year, where he was 37 out of 41. He's been very, very, very consistent. But you're constantly trying to get the touch and feel of pitching. Sometimes can't get over your front side. I don't know how they'll score that. Certainly. Ball's in, didn't bounce, but didn't get caught until they get another runner in scoring position.
And the scorer says wild pitch.
Yeah, usually if it bounces, you just missed it. It's not easy to catch 96, 97, and now they're going to come out and have a conversation about what the signs are going to be with a man on second base.
That's 2 that got past Matt in this game that looked like he could have stopped. Both were ruled wild pitches.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, he hasn't really, with the exception of the game in Minnesota, played in consecutive games. And, I understand, we're coming off the Tommy John, but I wonder if that, a little bit harder to set up, a little bit harder to actually get into a routine of catching. And then you're catching somebody with a really live arm.
So there's a 4-pitch walk. And Dave Wallace will come out for a chat.
Second baseman, Hanser Alberto.
Baltimore chop base hit off home plate for Venable. Now a 4-pitch walk.
Well, your biggest fear when you bring in your closer to get work and you're down, whether it's 4-0 or whatever the score is, he's out there to get his work, is you don't want to have a pitch count because you need it tomorrow night. In a normal normal pitch count for him is around 14.
Here's Hanser Alberto. Here's our Lexus 1000 drive of the game in the 6th inning. A 2-out base hit up the middle to get a big insurance run in. And that made it 4-0. The drive of the game brought to you by Lexus 1000, the area's #1 volume Lexus dealer. 5 years running. See why at lexus1000.com. And strike to Alberto.
Yeah, they still have T.J. McFarland pitching on the scoreboard out of left field. So that was pitch number 32 for Zach Britton.
Well, they're both lefty.
Oh, I'm sure that's what they're thinking.
He just threw his 17th ball.
How do you know that?
It says it out there.
Oh, you mean? But that's
not,
that's
the wrong guy.
It's the wrong guy.
And a foul tip. That is interesting that no one has noticed 4 batters into his appearance that it's not McFarland on the mound. The ribbon board in left field, there it is.
So hopefully he won't give up a run, but if he does, does it go to TJ's ERA? So that will be the...
1-2 on Alberto. And he got him. Real good sinker there. Down on strikes goes Alberto and 2 men out.
Isn't it kind of amazing? I mean, sometimes pitching coaches will run out and they say you never want to do it with the bases loaded because by the time you get back to the dugout, the guy may have hit a home run. I don't know what Dave Wallace told Zach Britton, but it worked. All of a sudden got his rhythm, maybe stayed back a little bit, and all of a sudden everything down in his own. I remember the late Mike Flanagan saying when he became a pitching coach, he said when you're pitching, and he was a Cy Young Award winner, you worry about yourself. When you're pitching coach, you worry about your entire staff. And of course you have help, Don Cheedy helping Dave Wallace.
Shields takes a strike. Shields has never faced Britton. J.J. Hardy with Buck Showalter. And a little bit low, 1-1. Shields got Texas going in the first. It was a bloop single to right field, and he came around to score the first run. The Rangers put 3 consecutive singles on the board in the bottom of the first against Miguel Gonzalez leading off that inning. And 2 of those 3 scored. Hard hit ball past Giannis into left field. Charging is Pierce, and he boots it, and it gets by him. Here's 1 run to score. Jimenez being sent to the plate, and 2 runs are going to score, and it is 6-0.
Yeah, that's not the first time that's happened this week. Batista with the Blue Jays let a 3-run ground ball get by. And they say the way they cut the grass here, the ball actually wiggles. It'll do that on past pollen grass. And I don't think that's the grass used to be here, but they changed it. So again, if you don't keep the club down, and actually in that Thursday game with the Jays and the Rangers, it happened not only to the Rangers, but it happened to Bautista for 3 runs. So they say the ball wiggles a little bit. I mean, look at it go back and forth, and it's actually spinning because of the cut of the grass, cut much differently than other outfield grass, and you could just see the ball almost, and it shouldn't be doing that.
So that'll be a single and an RBI for the Shields for the first run, and then E7 allowing the second run to score. So the infield hit and the walk do come around. It's now 6-0.
But it was amazing to see that ball kind of wiggle. Past Palom grass again. This used to be. I don't know if it's still in the outfield, but I know it used to be in the infield, and they call it Velcro. That's what they used to call it here.
Well, most major league fields, the ball does wiggle in the outfield, but I agree with you. This one, it's a different level.
But it happened for 3 runs in a 1-0 ball game. I mean, look at the ball just kind of go back. I mean, it's going in all kinds of different directions, and of course, Pete Pierce coming in, wants to catch it, maybe has a play at the plate, and it goes off his glove. Batista never even touched it.
And strike 3 called, so Chu is down on strikes, and the inning ends. But a disastrous inning for the O's. 2 big add-on runs. O's come to bat in the 9th, down by 6. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by PNC for the achiever in you. Arlington, Texas, 6-0 now. There's a 2-run bottom of the 8th. Expands the lead. And here is Derek Holland looking for a complete game.
Well, they gave him a standing ovation when he came out. Not only has he pitched well with a shutout, of course, it's not like he hadn't pitched complete games before. I mean, 4 of them in 2011. He was coming off the microfracture of the knee last year, the shoulder problems this year. 2013, a couple of complete games. Actually has 7 major league shutouts.
Falls behind Pierce 2-0. Jones on deck, and then Davis.
Well, the heart of the lineup, and they do have, I think, some action behind him just in case.
Lined right into the shift. There's Alberto right back of the bag.
Well, there's your run support. You know, if you're Derek Holland, I'm not going to walk him. I got a 6-0 lead. You make him put the ball in play, and he does. I mean, another quality at bat. We've seen not a lot of them, but 3 or 4 of them that have gone Derek Holland's way because he's got the lead. He makes you pitch to contact. Doesn't worry about one pitch. Well, there we go. The righty Dyson and the lefty Andrew Buckner, who just was called up.
Here's Adam Jones. Adam is 1 out of 3, so he's got a modest 3-game hitting streak working now. The last complete game for Holland was September 23rd of 2013. He beat the Astros in a 12-0 final. He scattered 6 hits, struck out 9, and walked 1.
So 105 pitches, which is really not a whole lot. They're coming off the shoulder problems, but they feel comfortable. 93, 94 previous starts. And again, a 6-run cushion. So he doesn't have to be perfect here in the 9th.
Upstairs with the fastball, 1-2.
And you know, you look at his windup, and you know, you saw Cole Hamels pitch marvelously on Friday night. He's a little smaller version of Madison Bogdenberg. I mean, he really kind of hides the ball and slings it. There's a good changeup for the strikeout.
There's number 10.
And that's what Hamels had on Friday night in 6 innings. It's the changeup out of the zone. 2 strikes, got to chase, or at least protect. And gets Adam out on his front foot.
Well, here is Chris Davis representing the Orioles' last hope. "13 in a row have been retired by Holland." And the fans really behind him. Just trying to go the other way.
Yeah, one of those team games. Your starter pitches fabulously. You get him an early lead. You add to it. On 3 occasions. It's right to script. That's just the way it's supposed to go. Good pitching and clutch hitting. Velocity still there. Yeah, well, that's a little bit low, but velocity still there at 94.
Just did get a piece. Been a long week for the O's. Long 11 days going back to the first game against Minnesota. And Davis stays alive.
Well, this is the way the game can work sometimes. And they're a pretty resilient ball club. And, you've been outplayed, you've been hit and pitched. Defense has been pretty solid. Get on the plane, go back to Baltimore, and try to get it together.
Inside 2-2.
It will not be an easy task with Chris Archer, but I take my chances with Ryan Chen. Having a terrific year, not a lot of wins, but pitching very well.
Inside, ball 3. Chris Davis with a real professional at bat here. And he struck him out, and there goes the bat, and that's how the ball game ends. So 11 strikeouts for Derek Holland, and he retires the final 14 Orioles to bat. The O's last base runner came with 1 out in the 5th inning, and the Rangers complete the 3-game sweep, and the Orioles complete a 1-6 road trip. Final score in Texas: the Rangers 6 and the Orioles nothing.